Oh, hey. Are you awake yet? NeuraLink 2022 review. Just to preface it, I want to say that Elon Musk is a fantastic person, a genius, if you may. And I think all the work that he does is fantastic and progressive. And anything that I say is, at worst, constructive criticism of him and the NeuraLink situation to improve the health of all people. I want to use the mind body connection to help people, to heal people, to heal myself, to be honest. Technology is there. I just wish that they weren't focused on things that they probably can't do. Now, I know that further down the line, I know that if something changes, I know that all that stuff, but the technology is there. It can help people now. They can do stuff now, but because the ideas are lofty, because the ideas are preset before the technology was fully understood, we're stuck with trying to create things that we can't create. It'll probably still make money. It'll probably find its way, but it's still gonna still gonna restrict the growth, right? The presentation itself was more of a expose from the individual project managers who were showing what progress they've made on the Neuralink over the past couple of years. It focused more on the good than the bad, but you could kind of get a vibe from each of the presenters on some of the difficulties that they might be experiencing. I think that some of the people took a more technical route and some of the people took a more lofty experiential route. And really, the vibe that you got is that they're working hard, but as to be expected from a project that essentially is taking current research and putting it into an applicable application, it's not really breaking walls. Now, this kind of goes to my main complaint of the entire thing is that all problems seem to be solved by making it smaller and making it faster. The technology as it is seems relatively set. They're more at the figuring out how to make it into a device that could be put out to millions. The product, as Musk said, is 99.9% perspiration. It's at the grind part of the project. And a lot of these projects are showing amazing growth and amazing ability in the things that they do, but all the things that they are doing are precursors to the general ideas that they want to put forward. They're not really putting the development towards or the focus towards the development of new technologies and new ideas that will actually create these changes. It's more just like, oh, we'll improve the algorithm or we'll increase the number of, you know, fibers or create another sheath or create other things. Basically, it's figuring out how to deal with the thing that is acting as it is now, not creating a new thing that might be different in the way that it acts. Support it as a functional
Which
idea.
is great.
Now, the problem with working in this field, the neuroscience field, is that we have amazing science that shows amazing things, but there are gaps in the field, kind of like any real new science. And if you look at all previous real sciences, there are discoveries along the way at certain benchmarkers, like 30, 40, 50 years, that are going to change the way that a lot of the higher level activities or studies are done. Unfortunately, with neurology, we're just not there. Take memories, for example. We feel as though we have a good understanding of how our memory system works, but really, it was generally theoretical. And even just recently, the most we've done has been able to image our brains actually creating a memory. We still have very little understanding of the actual development, storage, how those memories translate, and all like senses that are involved with them. Because a memory isn't just a visualization; it's the sounds that you hear at the time, it's the smells of the person, it's the unexplained sensation, and emphasis on unexplained, on how we take in that memory, take in that situation. Now, when I say unexplained and when I talk about consciousness, one thing that I want to understand about me is that I believe that there is science to these conscious expressions. I just don't think that we're there yet. I don't think current neurology, current study methods, where most of our balance have come from, most of our information has come from, is just not there yet. The concept of action potential, creating these fields which create a set of reactions, seems like it's missing something. It's missing a concept, it's missing a function that we're not seeing. And clearly, this has been seen in the difficulties of actually being able to do it. Now, you can poke a nerve and it will cause the arm to twitch. That's really easy. But how do you pick up a coffee mug? I mean, the complexity of the most simple things that we do millions of times a day is just ridiculous. And if you take into like an Occam's razor account, is our body creating millions of these individual signals at extremely high rates, or is there a third variable that helps with control? Well, we'll find out, I guess. You have to be able to do deep things. But the problem. So, the camera. This is my worst part of this whole presentation. I'm not gonna lie, I get a little bit of charlatan vibes from that guy. And it's not because I don't want the technology, it's because I want the technology that I don't trust the technology. Essentially, we as a science have never really been able to create external stimulation that creates internal visualization. We're not able to create AR for our brain. And it's not that we don't have the will to do this. I mean, I'm sure lots of people have tried. It's just that the technology, again, it's just not there. There are things that need to happen before that kind of thing even exists. And that's not the focus of it. The focus is not to create a new technology that exists, it's to create a high definition screen that we see. But if you look at the way that our brain sees, we don't see in a screen. We don't see a flat image. We have, as technology goes, we have foveated rendering. Our eyes have different sets of cones and rods, and we see a focused area that is in full color. We see a world around it that is in black and white and fuzzy. But our brain puts that together and creates a view that you can feel. It takes in all sorts of aspects of the brain in a beautiful menagerie of neural signals, and it creates the sensation of viewing. I mean, look at this. When you look onto that, is it just a static image? Or does it make you feel? You feel the oof, wow. But you can't get oof, wow with a picture. So, going from white dots to creating pixels, to creating a pixeled image, to the brain, it's just not going to happen. It's just not the way that things work in the brain. And they'll find it out. I mean, good for them. Let them find it out. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the body will acclimate to that and it'll be great. Maybe they'll figure out that they only need a slightly altered image and be able to do less with more. But the way that it's going, it feels like someone's trying to sell us something. And one of the other things that I think along the wire line is that even though the current wires are very small, if my theory is correct and they're going to need a more complicated signal than a simple electrical to completely mimic an action potential, then those wires might need to be increased in size. So if a goal is for everything to work because it's smaller and it's faster, well, if the signal becomes more complicated, that slows it and makes it bigger. So if that's your answer, then, you know, it's not going to work. Whereas if you can figure so as a person who has dedicated their life to the brain and how we are able to use it to interact with parts of our body for health and functionality, how do I feel about the Elon Musk 2022 update? Well, kind of makes me want to do this. Just kidding, I'm fine. Everything will be fine.